It is considered to be Battleground BC, and tonight Vancouver Island is playing host to another national leader, this time the NDP's Jack Layton, who is taking a page from the provincial New Democrats with a message about the Harmonized Sales Tax. A-News reporter Shachi Curl has the story.
It was a tax that toppled a premier, and NDP leader Jack Layton hopes the HST can bring down a prime minister too. He's crafted a Made in BC campaign, setting himself and his New Democrat MPs apart over their record on the unpopular tax.
You know, here in BC, every Conservative MP and every Liberal MP voted yes to the HST.
It's a play ripped straight from Layton's provincial NDP colleagues. They teamed up against the tax and watched their support soar. Layton's campaign ads have been running for weeks in hopes the issue will make the same kind of political magic for him.
We listened and we voted no to the HST.
Lost in the anti-tax petition, plus the referendum and recall attempts it spawned, was the federal component to how the 12% tax came to BC.
This is a decision of the provincial government, and they are obviously responsible for adopting that decision and explaining that decision.
But last fall, A-News showed you internal documents that indicated the Harper Government appeared eager to offer a deal to BC, $1.6 billion in transfer payments if the provincial government signed on to the HST. Then Premier Gordon Campbell took the deal and the money, which was applied to BC's ballooning deficit. But Layton says if British Columbians reject the tax in a referendum later this spring, they shouldn't have to give the $1.6 billion back.
Well, I'm here to tell you, with an NDP government, that money stays in British Columbia for health and education.
It may be effective politics, but is it sound policy? If BC is allowed to wiggle out of this deal, will other provinces be allowed to back out of other promises? No matter. Jack Layton is banking on the notion that money talks, and it's telling Vancouver Island voters to back the NDP.
Shachi Curl joins us now live from the Esquimalt Secondary School, where Jack Layton's campaign is expected within the next half hour or so. Shachi, what can we expect from Layton at this stop tonight?
More of the message that he's been pounding on this trip to BC, Hudson, the HST. We're just starting to see some of his supporters come into the gym as they await the leader, and what they want to hear from him is the fact that he recognizes that they feel they've been wronged on a tax and that they will be able to hang on to the $1.6 billion in transfers that Ottawa sent BC as a result of signing on to the tax, even if they reject it in a referendum that's expected soon, as we said. So, you know, the question for Jack Layton is, if you're going to do that, what are the other provinces going to say about this? Are they going to not want to honor their financial commitments? But, you know, this crowd is very partisan, and they're really going to want to hear Layton give Stephen Harper a heck and give Gordon Campbell heck. And we'll see what happens tonight. I'm expecting a lot of noise.
We'll check back with you to speak to the leader a little later. Shachi, thank you.
You're welcome.
Federal NDP leader Jack Layton has brought his campaign to Greater Victoria tonight. He's set to speak to his supporters. Our Shachi Curl is there with the leader. Shachi.
Hudson, I am joined by NDP leader Jack Layton. Jack, thank you for making a few moments with us. I'm going to get straight to the question.
Great to be with you.
Very happy to have you here, and thank you for making time. I want to ask you about what you're saying about the HST. We've heard you say today that if BC voters reject the tax, as it's expected that they will, that you believe British Columbia shouldn't have to give that $1.6 billion back. I've also heard you say, sir, that you want to be Prime Minister. If that's the case, what does that say, and what kind of precedent does that set to other provinces in terms of breaking their agreements with Ottawa?
Well, first of all, it means that if another province were to decide to do the same thing, then they should be treated the same way. But I'll tell you one thing. Stephen Harper was wrong to bring the HST into British Columbia. He and all of his Conservative members of Parliament who voted for it, and the Liberal members of Parliament from BC, voted for the HST, and that's wrong. And this election is a chance for people to send them a message. And we say that the people of British Columbia should not be punished because of something that Stephen Harper and Gordon Campbell did. That money's going to health and education, and that's where it should stay.
So you would not claw it back from BC, and you wouldn't claw it back from any other province that wanted to do the same?
Exactly right. Fairness is what we're talking about here.
All right, let's talk about why you're here. Two key ridings on the island. You've got Esquimalt-Juan de Fuca and Vancouver Island North, always a seesaw up north. And
don't forget Nanaimo, Port Alberni.
All right.
And don't forget the islands.
So
and
why is it here for you to pick up, though? I mean, these are two key ones that you could pick up. And what is your strategy for actually getting a couple of gimmies on this go-around?
Well, first of all, we have great candidates in all of the ridings here on the island. We also have terrific record of service from Denise Savoy and from Jean Crowder, two of the hardest working members of Parliament. And so I think our record is strong, and clearly Ottawa is broken in so many different ways. The insiders get all the breaks. We see that every day now with the Conservatives. And it's time to shake things up and bring some change. And that's what we're going to do. It's time for us to fix it with this wonderful team I have right here.
All right, we are going to leave it there. Thanks again for your time. And we will leave you to your people and your supporters. And I'm sure you have a lot to say to them as well.
Sure do. Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Hudson.
All right, Shashi, Mr. Layton, thanks very much.